musicians. Reverend Aubrey has a cold, and that affected her voice, so she can't be here today. So I could picture, she called me yesterday, I could picture her reaching in the barrel and reaching way to the sticky bottom. She had all these wonderful people who could speak: Dave, Diane, Martin, Annie, a plethora of people here to speak, Susan, Monica. You could all do it up here. And then, but being a person of integrity, when she picked my name out of that sticky mass, she had to call me. So here I am. It was beautiful meditation, beautiful music. And I had, as many of you know me, and so good to see you all again. But she asked me to do what she was going to do today, not her exact lesson, but back to the basics, because she's going to start the 12 powers next week, which is based on 5 truth principles. So I'm going to kind of stick to that script. In the ministerial school, they taught you always keep a lesson in the coffee can in case you get called at the last moment. And so I keep every one of my lessons. I gave this lesson at the Unity of Madison, so I dug it out and I redid it for this group. Good morning actually means, it's God's way of saying, one more time, go make a difference, touch a heart, encourage a mind, inspire a soul, and for golly, above all else, enjoy the day. Some of us aren't going to be here today. I want to, before I start, raise your hand if you knew who Carolyn Duke Anderson was from this church. Okay. She was at this church for a long, long time, and she sent me this email. I just want to read a part of it. Now, what impressed me about Carolyn, many things impressed me about her, but she used to ride her bike here, many, many miles to get here, sit in the back row in her bike attire and listen intently, and then go out and ride for 25 miles, right? And I always admired that, and just the ability to do that and be that fit. Well, as this year is coming to a close, I wanted to send a little note telling you all about my year. Last year at this time, I was in the hospital due to complications from Addison's disease. I didn't know it, but I would end up being in the hospital for 6 months. I had lost muscle mass and strength as well as balance due to the amount of steroids I had been on. Been through 2 separate blood clots, one in each leg, which are now gone. As a result, I had to learn how to walk again. I was in 2 separate rehab facilities and left the hospital on March 4th. I went to a group home to recover before I could move into my own place, which I did on June 1st. When I left the hospital, I was still using a walker. By the time I moved into my place in June, I was able to walk up a mile at a time. Since then, I have made more progress and can now walk up to 4 miles at a time. I have been to physical therapy to work on gaining more muscle strength, balance, and endurance. I have come a long way, but still have a long way to go. My objective for the new year is to return to bike riding, and I have no doubt that she will do it. I always start my lesson with a joke, and Jerry and I were talking about anniversary, and hers was what?
34 years.
34. And I know a lot of us have been married a long time. I've been married 53 years, and you know, the spark goes out after a while. I don't want to tell Monica and Louie this. Because they're, you know, just thinking about getting married, so I don't want to spoil them. But after 53 years, so I just said to my husband once, I said, you know, I would just like to hear again those 3 words that every woman wants to hear. And he said, go pack, go. That's when the fight started. Reverend Aubrey is going to teach the 12 powers, and is this being videoed or just recorded?
Video and recorded.
Video and recorded. Oh, so hi. is the 5 Principles, written by Ellen Davenport, who was a Unity minister in Dallas for many, many years and wrote this great book called The 5 Principles. She also had a degree in journalism, so if you ever want to read a cool book, it's that, because she skips all the adjectives and gets right to the core of a sentence and knows how to write, and simplistic and beautiful reading. It's one of my favorite books. The 5 Principles constitute the core teachings of Unity movement, and these same principles reflect the laws of the universe that apply to everyone all the time. They show up in every major religion, and all are reflected in the teachings of Jesus. Her book explains things in such an understanding way I have not read in any other spiritual book, so I'm glad she's doing that. In the limited time today, I'm going to give you the highlights, but I recommend reading it or purchasing it from your own library. Used, you can get it probably for a couple bucks now. Ellen was also introduced to Abraham Hicks, which is channeled material from God to Esther and Jerry Hicks. Abraham Speaks. And I have spoken about that many times up here. It's the law of attraction, channeled to God through Esther and Jerry Hicks, and it permeates Ellen's book also. Principle number 1, God is absolute good, everywhere present. In Jesus' words from John 10:30, the Father and I are one. Doesn't mean just the Father and I, Jesus, are one. He means the Father and everyone is one with the Father, one with Source. So the number one truth, said so succinctly by Emily Cady is, there is only God, all else is a lie. There is only God, all else is a lie. There is only God, all else is a lie. We'll go into a little bit more of that on the way through. Principle 2, beings have a spark of divinity within them, the Christ Spirit within, which Dave and Annie talked about today. Our essence is of God, therefore we are inherently good. A lot of people think Jesus' last name was Christ. It was not. It was Yahweh ben Yosef was his real name. The Christ is in every one of us. Jesus the Christ. That's what separates the truth principles of unity from all other religions. Not Jesus Christ, Jesus the Christ. Dave the Christ, Annie the Christ. All of us the Christ. This God essence called the Christ was fully expressed in Jesus. It seems in the evolution of the Old Testament, God saw his people struggling under so many Jewish archaic laws. He decided it was time to send the perfect way-shower to change the course of history. They named him Jesus, and he became the teacher of the new law. The new law, the Christ within. Your spirit, the Christ within you, is your true identity. The body, with its ego, is the way it gets around. Your spirit, the Christ within you, is your true identity. This body is simply the way it gets around. The body's going to leave at some time. It's finite. Your true identity will never leave. You'll reincarnate many times over. I don't know if the world would be ready for another reincarnation of me, but I think I'm going to reincarnate. Principle 3. Human beings... Oh, wait. I forgot. In Jesus' words for principle number 2, in John chapter 10:34, is it not so written in your law, I said you are gods? Principle 3. Human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. In Jesus' words, Matthew 7:7, ask and it will be given to you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. This third law is the law of attraction, or mind action. Science tells us that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Jesus says, what you sow, you reap. What you think about, sow, you create, reap. Not every every thought now, think about that. Not every thought creates. Otherwise, my brothers, when we were growing up, would all be dead. The way they picked on their sister. Only the persistent thoughts held in mind is a cause which sets in mind an eventual effect. Our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts, nothing else, our thoughts create our reality. You want a better life? Simple. Think better thoughts. Remember what the great Louise Hay said about thinking. I don't fix my problems, I fix my thinking, and the problems fix themselves. And guess what? The universe does not speak English, or any other language for that reason. It does not need words. It is our feelings that create. The universe operates in a field of energy, and so do you. So if you think you can think one thing and manifest another, you're crazy. It's how you feel about it. It's how you feel. It's your feelings. Focus on the good, positive, joy vibrations of everything. And hang with positive people. Protect your energy field. We all have an energy field. We all have an aura, 6-layer aura. This is the last thing downriver. Right next to us is our ether. It has to be protected. It's protected with good thoughts, good music, good joy vibrations. Chuck the negative, only think positive. We're surrounded by negative, but we cannot let it screw up our joy vibration. We cannot. Principle number 4, prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God-mind and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. In Jesus' words, Mark 11:24. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. When Moses asked the voice in the wilderness, "Who are you?" the voice, God, answered back, "I am that I am." If God is the I am, then who am I? I am the divine, perfect, eternal manifestation of the one and only power from which daily I draw everything that is good. I am the divine, perfect, eternal manifestation of the one and only power that daily I draw everything that is good. Choose the word happy as an example of the I am. Every time you say, I am happy, you ask in God's name for happiness. Every time you say, I am sad, you ask in God's name for sadness. Guess what? You get both. Because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh, God has no choice but to give you what you put behind the I am. This is the way it works, friends, not rocket science. Want a better life? Start your affirmative prayer with I am. Never I want, because the universe of energy will provide wanting. Never I am going to, because the universe will provide I am going to. Always I am. I am healed. I am prosperous. I am whole. I am patient. I am kind. Principle 5, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, is not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And that's why I'm glad to see you in a truth church, because you live the truth that you know. It's good to learn what truth is. Not that you weren't born with that knowledge, but it's clouded over. It's good to be in a truth church. In Jesus' words, Matthew 25:35-40. I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Just as you do these things to the least of my brethren, you do them to me. No one expects you to radically change the world. Even Jesus didn't ever overthrow the Roman Empire or establish peace on earth. We feel like what we do is just a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would be less without that drop. Those remembered as avatar or saints were noted more for their higher consciousness than their accomplishments. You and I are the avatars and saints of 2020. Someone in this room sent me 4 beautiful Easter stockings and some money to fill it, because I have a ministry in Racine, as many, all of you know, most of you know, I have a ministry of underprivileged kids in Racine, to fill them with something. So I went, and these beautiful stockings, and filled it with, some candy, and little, a yo-yo, and different box, what do they call those little cars? Matchbox cars, and dart gun. Sorry. And then I had a couple other things at home. I had a little hat that said love on it, and a couple other things. And I stuffed these full, and I thought they would hang them, and it ended up being the only thing they got for Christmas. You never know how you're good. You never know. You know, Mother Teresa says you don't have to feed the whole world, just feed the person next to you. You don't have to help the whole world, just help the person next to you. There are over 7.7 billion people on the planet, and only you can step forward when your name is called. You are a unique and unreplaceable